Hello, and welcome to Japanese craft beer reviews. We're kind of in the middle of a series of beers from Second Story Ale Works brewery in Tokushima. Recently, I reviewed three of their beers with Mark Melly, the author of Craft Beer in Japan, the Essential Guide. And I wish I had Mark with me now to review. I've got three more beers from them to look at, and Mark knows them quite well. He knows the brewer, and he's visited the brewery. Second Story Ale Works started in 2018, so not too long ago, in Tokushima, Japan, which is Tokushima is a city in Ehime Prefecture, which is one of the four prefectures of Shikoku Island, they're actually, the brewery is not is kind of outside the city in the countryside, and the name comes from the fact that they started the brewery in the second story of the brewer's in-laws' house, I think above the garage of their house, and they began bottling from 2019, and generally people say that don't, the kind of cardinal rule of establishing a brewery is don't put it on the second floor. But according to Mark, the fermenters are on the first floor. I'm not sure about the brew kit, the kettle, and that sort of thing. But in any case, interesting name, and it was started by a couple. A man named Pat Brown, who was the brewer, and his wife, Yuki, who is the manager and the owner of the company. And he'd been homebrewing for a long time, and he moved to Bend, Oregon, which is quite a brewing town. For example, Deschutes is started there, Boneyard, and several others. And he took a university brewing course, and then they came to Japan, and apparently he'd been here before a number of times, but decided to start the brewery, and the location that they found seemed just right. And it is in a farming area, and they use apparently lots of local products in their beer. And so, for example, we just had reviewed one with local raspberries and strawberries and brown rice from the area as well. So we're going to look at several beers more from them, and I do have a playlist. You can check those out. I have a playlist of about 20 beers from Second Story Ale Works. And in fact, one of their beers, the Farmhouse Americano, was one of the finest beers I had last year. I reviewed it in last year, and then also in my top beers of the year video. So you can check those out. On Rate Beer, there are 41 beers listed for this brewery, and on Untapped, 61 beers with an average rating of 3.75. So pretty high overall, definitely. So a lot of people haven't heard of this brewery, especially if they're in the Tokyo area, I think. I'm not sure if they get as much recognition, but they certainly do deserve it, and I'm going to look at three more beers from them. Okay? All right. So the first beer we're going to look at here today is called Twins Chinook, and this is an IPA. It's a 6.5% IPA. And the Rate Beer, there's only one rating, and that is at 3.7. Untapped has 15 ratings and an identical 3.7 out of 5 points possible. And it was brewed with Cascade and Columbus hops, and then dry hopped with Chinook. And we're going to look at two beers in the Twins series, this one and the El Dorado. I assume the recipe is identical except for dry hopping with the different hops, Chinook or El Dorado. So this one has Chinook hops, which I think is traditionally not an aroma hop. It can be used as an aroma hop, but primarily a bittering hop. Chinook is one of the longer hops. among the many varieties. And Chinook should give a pretty strong bitterness to it. We'll see, maybe a drier character from that as well. So this has malt, hops, and some starch as well. It should be an interesting beer. I'm looking forward to it. On the label, you'll see, of course, two young boys, and this is the brewer's father and uncle, who are identical twins. And apparently, Mark said that the father told his son that he can't remember which one he is in this picture. In any case, and actually, Second Story Ale Works does use a lot of relatives and friends pictures on their beer labels. Okay, well, let's give this one a go, shall we? 6.5%. I don't know the bittering units for this. They don't put that information on their website or on the bottles. Kind of wish they would. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, it is clear, maybe a slight chill haze, clear amber gold, slightly orangish, with a nice fat fluffy, almost 2 fingers of fluffy white foam. Kind of sticky, spongy, and carbonation is pretty substantial. I think you can see it coming up there. And let's give it a go for the aroma. Okay, we do get a lot of pine, some grapefruit, so Cascade, Columbus, and dry hopped with Chinook. Yeah, so basically pine and grapefruit are the two characters I'm getting from this. Wow, flavor pretty similar. Starts out with a big rush of pine, and then the citrus comes in a little bit later. Gets a little bit rough in mid palate and then fades out, and it is kind of dry in the finish. Pretty substantial bittering in mid palate to the finish, kind of long tracks. Pleasant. What is missing here? Seems very kind of old schoolish, Pacific Northwest style. Interesting. The dry hopping with Chinook kind of adds certainly a note to the aroma, and I think the bittering is pretty strong as well. So to me, if you know Yona Ale in Japan, this seems somewhat similar, maybe a little bit stronger. Very lightly warming. Interesting beer. You can order these on their website. So if you go to the Second Story Aleworks website, you can order bottles. You can order this in a set, and you can order other bottles as well. A variety of different sets they have. If you do go on to that, I highly recommend their Farmhouse 2021 made with Brett, and also their Farmhouse Japonica, which is still available from 2019. It's quite a beer as well. Okay, well, we'll look at a few more beers from Second Story Ale Works, and please subscribe to the channel, and I hope to hear from you. If you'd like to talk about Japanese beer, leave me a comment. If you know more about Second Story Ale Works, let's talk. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.